we all know the secondary was the number one position room at Oregon that needed to be addressed in the offseason upcoming for this 2024 season. Their secondary pretty much cost them a trip to the college football playoff, a conference championship victory. They got torched versus Washington twice, and both times was a lot to do with the secondary of Oregon, coupled with Washington's elite receivers. So that's obviously their biggest concern in 2024. How will they fare in the Big 12 with a new secondary? They've addressed that in the portal. They brought in Jabbar Muhammad from Washington. They brought in Cam Alexander from UTSA. Both of those guys will be corners. And they brought in Kobe Savage from Kansas State. So they've pretty much overhauled the entire secondary. So we'll see how that fares out. Will this be an LSU type of affair where LSU overhauled their secondary last year and it was horrible, terrible, disaster? So obviously Oregon is hoping to not replicate that model from the LSU Tigers, instead trying to revamp and try to improve. That said, I want to touch on their D-line because they had lost a good amount of players to graduation and to the NFL from their D-line, and they're going to need to replace that. So last year they were 22nd in overall total defense last year. So pretty solid, almost a top 20 defense. They were 11th in rushing yards per game. Really solid. But now they lose three guys. They lost three rotation guys from their starting D-line from last year. That was the strength of their defense. So now this is going to be a next man up mentality. With Oregon falling short of their goals last year of conference championship, of playoff berth, this team is hungry. And they addressed that in the offseason, in the portal. They brought in additions. They're trying to address their concerns. And I think this team is hungry and they're going to be ready. They're entering in as, behind Ohio State as the next favorites to win the conference and to make it to the college football playoffs. So their expectations are sky high. And I think Dan Lanning has got his squad ready to take on this challenge. My question is, how is this D-line going to fare? So it's going to be, some returning guys that didn't really get a ton of looks last year because they were behind some starting guys who had now since moved on, but they did get some reps, but they're relatively unproven in terms of, Oregon production. So they had Keon Ware-Hudson, Amari Washington. These guys will be returning players, but they had backed up Popo Amave and Casey Rogers last year. So they're going to have to step up and grow into this new role. And they also brought in transfer Jamari Caldwell, second team all Big 12 last year, transferred from Houston. He's going to look to make an immediate impact. So there are spots available. There's roles to be had in this Oregon defensive line. And I think these guys will have to step up and address the challenge. Like, the Big Ten is full of big dudes on the offensive line, and games are won in the trenches. If the secondary can hold its part, and the D-line can get in the backfield, Oregon is going to be a dangerous, dangerous team next year. They're also going to be looking to freshman Jericho Johnson. He's a big body, 6'3", 370. They got Jordan Burks returning, a former transfer from South Carolina, Mateo Uyunglele. So, they got some dudes on defense still. And I think they're going to be great. I have some more so expectations for the D-line. How can they fill out from a really productive D-line last year? How will these guys do? These are going to be new guys. I'm excited to see them, watch them this year. Follow Big Body Ball on all socials at Big Body Ball CFB. Watch the full video on the YouTube page.